In today's session, we will discuss about the shear strength of PSC section, and we will discuss one numerical on the how to design the section for the shear enforcement. Now, in previous session, we have discussed about different clauses in the shear enforcement of the shear resistance. So, in that, we have discussed about that there are two clauses mainly as per the IS 1343. So, the first clause, that is 23.4, it will give us the shear resistance in the cracked section, and the second clause, it deals with the shear resistance in the uncracked section. Now, basically for the shear reinforcement, so the methodology or the funda, it is same as that of the RCC. So there are three different cases you have to study for the shear reinforcement. So this shear reinforcement in a PSC member or the pre-stressed concrete, it will be same. It will be given by the same clause as per the RCC. Okay, means the same clauses you have to refer. So what we have referred in IS 456. The first case, if this shear force developed, so this V is nothing but the shear force developed. If you are considering the simply supported beam, okay, I will take the example for the beam, and if that beam is simply supported beam and the loading acting on that beam, if it is say 5 kilonewton per meter, 5 kilonewton per meter. Okay. So in this particular case, simply support beam is there and subjected to UDL on entire span. So this V, it is nothing but the shear force. This V is the shear force developed. Now, in this particular case of simply supported beam, now tell me if the span is say 4 meter, if the span is say 4 meter. So what will be the shear force for this particular beam? What will be the shear force? Shear force काय असेल? As per the IS 456. So what shear force we are considering while designing the shear reinforcement? If the beam is simply supported beam, subjected to UDL on entire span, so this shear force, it is nothing but the reaction at ends. Okay, this shear force, it is nothing but the reaction at ends. Now, this reaction for this particular case, simply supported beam, UDL on entire span. So, reaction at end is given by, reaction at the ends are given by the formula. What is that formula? Yes, simply supported beam, UDL on entire span. Simply supported beam, UDL on entire span. Then reaction at end, it is given by the formula WL by 2. Okay, this WL by 2. So this V is nothing but the WL by 2. It depends on the external loading condition. So what I meant to say, this V, it depends on the external loading condition. Okay, now this V, it will be ultimately your WL by 2 for simply supported V. Now, if this shear force, it is less than, if this particular shear force, it is less than 0.5 VC. 0.5 VC. Now, what is this VC? It is nothing but the shear resistance or the critical shear resistance of that particular section. Critical shear resistance of that particular section, it is V suffix C, and whereas V will be the shear force generated. Shear force generated means due to the loading condition. Due to the loading condition, the shear force developed if it is less than 0.5 of shear resistance, less than 0.5 of shear resistance. If this is the case, then there will be no requirement for the shear reinforcement. No need for the shear reinforcement. When the shear force developed due to the loading condition, if it is less than half of the shear resistance of that section, half of the shear resistance of that particular section. This is due to the loading condition WL by 2, or we can say reaction, and this is nothing but the shear resistance of that particular section as per the codal provision. So shear resistance, half of the shear resistance, if it is greater than the shear force developed, then there will be no resistance, shear reinforcement requirement. There will be no requirement for the shear reinforcement. This is the first case. Now, second case, if the shear force is less than the critical shear resistance. Here it will be half of the critical shear resistance. Here it will be V is less than Vc. V is less than Vc. In that case, in second case, we have to provide the nominal shear reinforcement. In this case, we have to provide the nominal shear reinforcement. So nominal reinforcement we have to provide in this second case when shear force developed if it is less than the critical shear resistance of that particular section. So for this critical shear resistance, we have seen two different clauses, cracked section, uncracked section. Okay. So for second case, we have to provide the nominal shear reinforcement. We have to provide the nominal shear reinforcement. And third case, okay, and the nominal shear reinforcement that we have to provide in the second case when V is less than Vc. V is less than Vc. So the spacing we have to use using this particular clause, okay, and the bar we have to use, that will be 8 mm diameter bar we have to use for the shear reinforcement. And in this formula, now see, this is the spacing of that shear reinforcement, or you can say stirrups, 0.85 Fy ASV, that is the area of the shear reinforcement, divided by 0.4 B. Now, if the section is rectangular one, then B it will be width. So whenever the section is flange section, it may be I section, it may be T section, it may be L section. In that case, so this we have to replace with the width of the web. Okay. So this B in the case of the flange section, your I section, T section, or L section, in that case, this B is nothing but the width of the web portion. Now this is the nominal shear reinforcement we have to provide. Now these are the clauses you will get in various competitive examination as well as your SPV examination. They will not give the numerical and you have to provide the shear reinforcement and you have to solve it. No, they will ask the clauses. So first possibility, they will ask the formulas. Second, they will ask the theoretical concept. Okay. Second possibility, they will ask the theoretical concept. And third, they will ask the clauses of the IS code. They will ask the clauses of the IS code. So that's why IS 1343. So for unit number 1, 2, 3, first 3 units or the half of the portion of this subject, it deals with this IS 1343 2005. So all the clauses you should well aware of it. So you have to refer that clauses, you have to read the clauses. Okay. For second case, we have to provide the nominal shear reinforcement. For first case, if V is less than 0.5 Vc, no need for the shear reinforcement. No stirrups are required. Now third case, if shear force generated, okay, so due to the external loading condition, if the loading is much heavier, then if the reaction generated, or we can say shear force generated, if it is greater than critical shear resistance, okay, critical shear resistance of the section, if it is less than the shear force generated or the reaction generated, in that case we have to design separate shear reinforcement. Okay, now in this third case, the design of shear reinforcement, it is very much vital, okay, very much important. In this case, we have to design the shear reinforcement. Now you know that, so this Vc or the critical shear resistance, so this much amount of load or this much amount of shear force, it will be taken by the section. Okay, it will be taken by the section. Now what amount is remaining, what amount that we have to design for? Now this strength or this resistance, it is already section is having, okay, already section is having this much strength, and this is the reaction generated. Means, so additionally we have to design for reaction minus critical shear resistance. Now for this much shear force, we have to design the shear reinforcement, because for this critical shear resistance, it is already there in the section, and this is the total load that we have to design for the shear reinforcement. So V minus Vc for this particular shear force, we have to design the shear reinforcement. Okay, this is the third case. And in the third case, when V is greater than Vc, shear reinforcement is necessary for design. Okay, and the spacing, it is given by the formula. Yes, it is the spacing of the shear reinforcement and is equal to 0.87 Fy. ASV, it is the area of the shear reinforcement. D, divided by V minus VC. Now this is the shear reinforcement that we have to design for. This is the effective depth. Now this spacing should be less than, as per the codal provision, this spacing of the stirrup should be less than 0.75 D or 4 times BW. Okay, means it should be less than 0.75 effective depth or 4 times the width of the web portion, whichever is greater. Okay, suppose here we are getting the spacing as 100, here we are getting spacing as 120. So we have to go with the 120. And this spacing, it should be less than, this particular spacing, it should be less than greater of these two. Okay, so this is the clause, important clause for the shear reinforcement. So there are 3 different cases. So again, quickly we'll revise about the shear reinforcement. So we have seen, so what is the different clauses for the shear reinforcement? So there are 2 different clauses as per the IS 1343. First, it is for the uncracked section, that is for the shear resistance. Second, it is for the cracked section with respect to the shear resistance. Then there are 3 different cases we have to study for the shear reinforcement. First, when shear force generated is less than 0.5 VC, no shear reinforcement. Second case, when V is less than VC, nominal shear reinforcement we have to use, and the bar that we have to use are 8 mm diameter bar we have to use. Third case, when the shear reinforcement it is greater than critical shear resistance. So in that case, we have to separate design the shear reinforcement for V minus VC amount of shear force. For this much load, we have to design the shear reinforcement. So in generally, this is V, it is the shear reaction at the ends. And as we know, load, it is distributed as that is imposed a load. So V, and if the beam is simply supported, so the V is nothing but WL by 2. Okay. So in case of design, again, you have to consider the factored load. You have to multiply with factor of safety 1.5. And this is the spacing. So for spacing, the clause you have to remember, the spacing should be less than these 2 values, greater of these 2 values, 0.75 D or 4 into width of the web. So these are the clauses we have to refer for the shear reinforcement. Now we will discuss one numerical on the shear reinforcement. Okay, again, the remaining clauses are, if the spacing of shear reinforcement shall not exceed 0.75, that already we have discussed. So this is the clause, spacing restriction as per the codal provision. Now, if the shear stress developed, tau V, okay, tau V, it is the shear stress developed, okay, or we can say nominal shear stress. Now, what is nominal shear stress? This is the shear stress due to the external load. Means V is nothing but the shear force due to the external load divided by the cross section. So we will get the nominal shear stress, tau V. And this nominal shear stress, if it is exceeding tau C max, then we have to redesign the section. Because this is the nominal shear stress will be imposed in the section due to the loading condition. Due to the given loading condition, this is the shear stress developed. And the tau C max, it depends on your grade of concrete. And the section you have assigned. So as per the codal provision, we have to refer the tau C max value as per the table number 9. If the nominal shear stress developed, if it is exceeding tau C max, because this tau C max, it depends on the value of K. Okay, KBD, something like that. And K, it depends on the grade of concrete. And the minimum value, I think, as per the table number 9 for K, it is 1.6. It is varying from 1.6 to 2.5 somewhere. If the nominal shear stress, it is greater than tau C max as per the table number 9, then we have to redesign the section. So this is again fourth important point. Okay, this is all about the shear reinforcement. Now these are the one of the MCQ asked in one of the competitive examination. So what they have asked, see, the minimum transverse reinforcement in pre-stressed concrete beam. Pre-stressed concrete beam. So they have asked for the minimum transverse reinforcement, means they have asked for the nominal shear reinforcement. Nominal shear reinforcement. Okay. So I think first it is the option. As per the codal provision, we have to provide the nominal shear reinforcement. Now, if you studied all the clause thoroughly, then we can pick the option. Otherwise, if you see all four options are near about same. Okay. So that's why go with the all the codal provisions. Refer IS 1343, then IS 456. Read all the clauses. Read all the clauses, and in the first 5 to 10 pages, they have given all the basic terminology. What is bonded member? What is unbonded member? Okay, what is pre-stressing force? What is eccentricity? All that basic concept we need. Now this is the MCQ from your first unit, load balancing concept. So what they have given, simply supported beam of span 9 meter, it is subjected to 2-point loads, each of 10 kilonewton acting 1/3 of the span. Means at 1/3 there are point loads. So diagram is provided. If self weight of beam is neglected, then how much pre-stressing force is required to counterbalance the external load if theta is 30 degree. So this P, it is nothing but the pre-stressing force, and they have given the angle also. This is 30 degree, and this is the loading condition. This is the loading condition. So two eccentric point loads are given. Loading is symmetrical, no doubt, at a distance of L by 3, L by 3, L by 3. Total span is 9 meter, means this is 3 meter, this is 3 meter, this is 3 meter. And we have to find out this load balancing or the balancing load. What is the concept? Load balancing concept. Okay, what is the concept? Load balancing concept. And as per the load balancing concept, balancing load, suppose V, total load, I will say W. The balancing load W, it is equal to twice of P sine theta. Twice of P sine theta. Twice of P sine theta. Now this is total load that we have to balance. So total load is what? There are 2-point loads, that will be 10 plus 10, 20 into 2 into pre-stressing force. Theta is given, sine of 30. Sine of 30 it is half. So this 2P sine 30 is half. 2 will be cancelled, and P will be directly 20 kilonewton. 20 kilonewton. So what we need here? Load balancing concept तुम्हाला माहित पाहिजे. Load balancing concept. W, it is equal to 2P sine theta, and we have to find out P pre-stressing force. So simple calculation we have to perform here. So this is asked in MPSC 2018 for 2 marks. For main examination for 2 marks. Okay. Concept व्यवस्थित समजला पाहिजे. Load balancing concept. So balancing load, it is equal to twice of P sine theta. Now we will discuss one numerical on the shear reinforcement design. Simply supported beam of 15 meter span is subjected to the imposed load of 17 kilonewton per meter. Effective pre-stressing force is 1200 kilonewton. Beam section is unsymmetrical I section, having total depth, overall depth capital D is 900 mm. Top flange given of a cross section 400 by 150. Bottom flange 200 by 150. So now section, they have given it is unsymmetrical I section. Okay. Web thickness is given 130. Cable profile, it's consisting 7 12 by 5 numbers of prison net cable having 0 eccentricity at the ends. Now E is 0 at the ends and 100 mm from soffit at midsection. Means 100 mm eccentricity is provided at midspan. Determine ultimate shear resistance of beam and design shear reinforcement. Grade of concrete, it is given 1 M45, and the steel they have given 1600 MPa. Okay, so this is the numerical, and we have to design the shear reinforcement. Now, while studying this single numerical, we will understood all the concept of the shear reinforcement. So step by step, you have to proceed. Now the section given, it is the unsymmetrical eye section. The section given, it is the unsymmetrical eye section, and the overall depth they have given, it is 900 mm. Overall depth क्या दिलेली आहे? 900 mm दिलेली आहे. So the top flange, it is 400 by 150. Bottom flange 200 by 150. So for web portion, it will be of 130 by 600. This is the unsymmetrical eye section. If the section is unsymmetrical eye section, so initially we have to find out its moment of inertia, then we have to find out its centroid also. So loading they have given. So imposed load, it is given as 17 kilonewton per meter, and the span, it is 15 meter span is given. So area of the cable, it will be 7 into 12 into pi by 4 into 5 square. Okay. So 7 strands of 12 by 5. 12 by 5 means 12 into pi by 4, 5 square. So this is the area of that wire. Okay. And into 12 into 7. So this we get area of pre-stressing steel. This way we will get area of pre-stressing steel, that is 1649.34 mm square. So this is the total area of pre-stressing steel. Then effective pre-stressing force they have given 1200 kilonewton. Then M45 they have given, and the grade of steel they have given as 1600 MPa. Now eccentricity, they have mentioned one line for the eccentricity. It will be 0 at support and 100 mm at midspan. 100 mm at midspan. So this is the given data. Now first thing we have to do is find out the center. So that all you are well aware how to find out the center. So this will be area of top flange. Again, I will briefly revise. Area of the top flange into Y1, area of the web into Y2. Now this centroid we are finding from the bottom. Okay, suppose this is the eye section. Okay, this is the eye section. So from the bottom, we are finding out this centroid. So that's why all the distances of Y1, Y2, Y3, these are from the bottom. So this is area of the bottom flange, and the centroid of that bottom flange with respect to bottom divided by total area. Now this is the centroid from the bottom, or we can say YB bar. Okay, this is nothing but the YB bar, centroid from the bottom. Now overall depth we know that is 900. So if we have to find out YT bar, centroid from the top, so what we have to do? So that overall depth 900 minus centroid from the bottom, YB bar. So that way we can get the centroid from the top. The total area of that eye section, that will be this is the area of top flange 400 by 150, area of the web portion 130 by 600, area of the bottom flange 200 by 150. Okay, this is the total area of that particular section. Then moment of inertia. So for moment of inertia, we have to use the parallel axis theorem. So that will be BD cube plus A into H square. Now what is H? Kon sangel? So this value is nothing but the H. So what is H? So H, it is the distance between, suppose this is the eye section. Okay, this is the eye section. So what is H? Centered of the top flange. So this is discussion for the top flange. So center of the top flange and the centered of the total eye section. Total eye section is centered इथं काहीतरी आपण locate केलाय 564 from the bottom, and this is the centroid of the top flange. So distance between centroid of the top flange to the centroid of the section, this is H for the top flange. Then for the web portion also, for web, center of the web to the center of the eye section. So for web portion, this will be H. Similarly for the bottom flange also, for bottom flange centroid कुठं असेल त्याच्या D/2 ला असेल. This is centroid for the eye section. This will be H3. So it is the distance between centroid of that particular section, to the centroid of the total eye section. And we have to use BD cube by 12 as the sections are rectangular. BD cube by 12 general formula plus A into H square, A into H square, area that we know, H centered of the section to the center of the total I section, त्यामधलं distance. Okay. So likewise, we will get the moment of inertia 1.44 into 10 to the power 10 mm raised to 4. This is for the moment of inertia. Then for the section modulus, for bottom, it will be moment of inertia divided by centroid from the bottom, So this is the moment of inertia. This YB bar we have calculated. So we will get the section modulus, Z bottom we will get. Then eccentricity of the cable at midspan. If you have to find out, if you have to work out the eccentricity of the cable at a midspan, then so already eccentricity is 0 at the end, and at midspan they have given eccentricity as 100, and the YB bar we are having, that is centroid from the bottom, it is 516.96, but already eccentricity is provided at a distance of 100 mm. So the effective eccentricity at midspan, it will be a given eccentricity that we have to subtract from the YB bar. So YB bar minus 100, YB bar minus 100. So what we get here, 416.96 mm. This is the eccentricity effective at midsection, okay, or midspan, like this. Now this is the diagram. So this is the eccentricity 416.96. Now effective depth, it will be overall depth minus 100, So overall depth, it is 900 minus 100. So that's why D will be 800 mm. Now, so why this is located at D here? Why this section it is created D? So what this indicate? What this section line XX indicate? The XX hai. No doubt problem is lengthy, but if you thoroughly understood this particular problem, you can solve n number of MCQ. Okay, because in case of design, you have to understood one or two numerical thoroughly, then you can answer any type of MCQ, because solving n number of MCQ doesn't serve the purpose. So basic need of the design subject, first you should thorough go through the codal provisions, then basic concept, then solve one or two numericals. फक्त एक दोन numerical व्यवस्थित solve करा, you will understood all the concept. Now what this section XX indicates? So D का घेतलेला आहे कोण सांगेल? Why this is D? We have provided at section XX. What it indicates? What is the significance? Significance काय आहे? What is the significance? From the support at a distance XX. What is this location? What this location is all about? Section XX. So this particular section. Distance or the section at a distance small d, section located at a distance small d from the support is called as the critical sections. All the critical sections are situated at a distance d from the supports, So that's why at this particular critical section, now we will work out what is the shear resistance. So again, at that critical section, so there is certain eccentricity E dash, that also we have to work out, because at support eccentricity is 0. It is already given. At midspan they have given 100. Then YB bar minus 100, you have got the eccentricity at midspan 416.96. Then at critical section, what will be the eccentricity? That also we have to work out. Now we will see how to find out E dash. So for that case, we have to see the nature or the geometry of that cable. As we know that cable we are providing, that will be in a form of parabolic cable. So this is the equation of that parabolic cable. Okay. In case of parabolic form, we are providing the cable. So equation, it is given by 4EX by L square in bracket L minus X. So this is the equation, parabolic equation we have studied in case of the arches. So in that we have studied 4HX by L square in bracket L minus X. So in that case, in case of our case, so that H was the central rise. H काय होतं? Central rise होतं. That was given here. This is the somewhat the arch from parabolic nature. It is also parabolic nature. So here, so central, instead of central rise, here we will have the eccentricity. Here we will have the eccentricity. Okay. Now putting all the corresponding terms. So at center, we know the eccentricity is 0.416. It is in meter now. Okay. L, it is given 15. So 15 square in bracket 15 minus X. So this is the equation. This is the equation of that parabolic profile. Okay. Now, as we have to find out that angle alpha, then what we have to do? We have to perform the derivative of that equation. Why we know? Then perform dy by dx. So what is dy by dx? That is nothing but the slope. So slope is nothing but tan of theta, or we can say here tan of alpha. Tan of alpha means if you perform the derivative of that equation, y equation, you will get one value, and if you perform that tan inverse of that value, you will get that angle. Okay. Now the derivative of this particular term, it will be 4e divided by L square in bracket L minus 2x. Okay, L minus 2x. So this is, we can say, tan of alpha. This is for tan of alpha. Now to get the alpha, what boundary conditions we are having over here? So it is given that at x is equal to 0, so what alpha we are having? So if I put x is equal to 0 in this equation number 2, so it will be 1.664 into 15 divided by 15 square. So the tan of alpha is 0.1109. So if I take the tan inverse, so the alpha will be 6.33 degree. So this is the alpha after applying the boundary conditions at x is equal to 0, at the support at x is equal to 0. Then to get the eccentricity at critical section. So what is our ultimate aim? We have to find out the eccentricity at critical section. And what is the location of critical section? So why here x is 0.8 meter? Why x is, we have considered 0.8 meter? Because the critical section, it is located at a distance d. Critical section, it is located at a distance d, and d we are having as 800 mm. Because overall depth was 900 minus given eccentricity 100. So 900 minus 100, 800 mm, that is the effective depth. So the critical section, it is located at d, and that is 800 mm or 0.8 meter. Now putting this value of x in equation number 1, we will get the y. And that y, it is nothing but the e, that is 84 mm. So this is the 84 mm, it is the eccentricity at a critical section. Now if I draw the loading diagram, so this is the critical section. At a distance 0.8 meter from the support. This is the imposed load or the live load, 17 kilonewton per meter. Then these are the reactions. Reaction at end, or we can say V. Shear force WL by 2, that is W is 17, L is 15 divided by 2. So 17 into 15 by 2. So that will be 127.5 kilonewton. 127.5 kilonewton. Critical section location 0.8 meter from the supports. Okay. Now we will find out what is the shear force at this critical section. Now what is the next task? This is the critical section that we know. This is the critical section. Now at critical section, we will find out what is the maximum shear force at critical section, as well as what is the maximum bending moment at critical section. Okay. Now if I have to find out the critical shear force here, so what I have to consider? काय असेल critical section मध्ये आपल्याला जर shear force find out करायचा आहे, section XX. So apply summation Fy equal to 0, you will get the critical force. Apply moment at section, you will get the moment at that particular section. Okay. Now see first, and that moment we have to consider with factored load 1.5. So the moment will be, due to the loading condition, that will be 1.5 into WL square by 8. This will be the moment due to the given loading condition, and this is the reaction, factored reaction 1.5. Okay, so these are the factored value. These are the factored value, but where we are getting this value, these are the standard value at the location. So at center, bending moment will be maximum. At ends, these are the reaction at ends, WL/2 हे काय सपोर्टला आहे, बरोबर आहे, त्याला आपण फॅक्टर्ड केलेलं आहे. पण आपल्याला कुठं फाइंड आउट करायचं आहे, ऍट क्रिटिकल सेक्शन at distance d, at distance d, at that particular distance d, here at this particular section we have to find out. ज्या व्हॅल्यू आपण बघितल्या तर WL²/8 bending moment will be maximum at center and the reaction WL/2 it will be at the supports. त्यालाच आपण काय केलं इथं फॅक्टर केलेलं, multiply with 1.5. Now at critical section what will be the value that we have to find out. At critical section what will be value that we have to find out. Now so this is for the shear force. Shear force काय असेल, so this is the section, this is the UDL, UDL is what 17, this is 0.8, रिएक्शन किती होती 127.5, त्याला आपण फॅक्टर्ड केलं, मल्टिप्लाय विथ 1.5.